All the pieces for steps 22, 23, 24, all 17 of them are glued in place. And as I said yesterday, if you know where to look, you'll see them. Otherwise, they just sort of blend right in and you can't see them. Most of them consist of these sort of vents. And on the side here, there's a couple of winches we put on. You can't see it, but there's a spool in the back for winding up a hose, I guess. And this one. Anyway, without putting on the macro lens and zooming right in, and then you can see all the places where the glue kind of ran and spoiled the paint job. Now, mind you, from the way I'm looking at it, as I said before, it looks like weathering, and I think it actually improves it. You know, it kind of doesn't make sense, you know. You go to a real nice job of painting everything just perfect. And then what do? You put panel line stuff all over the place, and you sort of have the same effect anyway. So, yeah, I think that, well, one place that bothers me is just above that vent. I'm finding that this particular gray that's on the side here, and that's, on the side of the turrets, and the turret themselves will be painted that same gray. When the extra thin wicks into it, it really shows up, whereas this other gray, it doesn't. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Where were we here? We are going to turn the page. Okay, steps 25. All we do is assemble an anchor. 26. Consists of a whole bunch of little pieces again. More of these vents. And the anchor chain. Now, about an hour ago, I paged ahead because I knew we were going to do the anchor chain, and I thought, where does the anchor chain in the back go? There's the hawse pipe on the stern, but there does not appear to be any anchor or a place where the anchor would be, come up the side of the ship. I think that's an oversight on Trumpeter's part here, unless it's on the other side of the ship and I can't see it. But I was under the impression it was on this side of the ship in any pictures I saw. We'll check that out later when we get to it. That's not going to be for a long time. However, we are probably, I'm guessing, about a third of the way through the manual, if you want to count pages, because I think there's 76 or 78 steps, and we're on 26 already. So that's a third of the way through. So we're moving right along. I'm guessing that hopefully by spring, this will be done, and we can start on the Rodney. I want to keep working at it at the pace I'm going, and if I can cut back on the videoing, then I can spend more time actually gluing plastic parts together. Speaking of spring, if you notice out the front window, it looks like spring. Most of our snow, I would say 99% of our snow is gone. Just the odd little patch here and there where it was kind of drifted or shoveled into a pile. That's all that's left. And the next couple of days are supposed to be, you might say, mild. At least mild for Winnipeg. Now, I didn't count the parts, but I'm guessing there's probably about, a couple of dozen. Probably about 25 parts. Some of them are very small, like these little clevises. And if you remember, we did those on the Bismarck, and it seems to me we were trying to figure out what do we call these. Anyway, it doesn't matter now. Now, for the anchor, if you look at the manual here, you can see the anchors, they've got it so that it's more or less straight like this. See if I can straighten it out here. Okay, like that. However, I was thinking that when the this part here goes up the hawse pipe, then these, when they're on the side of the ship, they're going to maybe be better if they're angled, if you know what I mean. Makes more sense to me, unless this is supposed to just sort of maybe hang down a little bit and not go up into the hawse pipe. Now, what makes me think that it's not supposed to go in there where it would normally go is because, well, I'll move the camera over to the bow, and I'll show you where there's a bit of a problem. Well, we can work around it. Another thing I'm thinking, maybe rather than glue this together right now, being is that these are a bit of a tight fit. Now they're not so tight that they're going to break, but they do want to stay in whatever position you put them in. I'm thinking maybe I should wait until after we're decide what we're going to do here before I actually put a little bit of extra thin on that joint. These pieces here, they actually go in behind the breakwater. Well, you'll be seeing that when they're done. And there was a couple of little pieces of photo etch that go in there that I guess are supposed to represent doors. I hope I moved in close enough for you to see all this. I know I'm sort of zoomed back on everything. Okay, let's move the camera over to the bow, and I'll show you what I think is going to be a bit of a problem. Okay, I have a toothpick here, which is about the same diameter as the shank of that anchor. But if you try to go down through the hole that's provided here, well, first of all, it won't fit. Let's see if I can find something a little bit. Okay, try this thing here. Try and get my hand in there. Okay, I realize that you can't, you can't really see the angle because you're not watching this in 3D like I am, but in order for this to come out the hose pipe at the right angle, it has to be like this, and it just isn't going to go. So I'm thinking that maybe the anchor is just supposed to hang down a little bit on the shackle and or clevis and whatever, and the chain is supposed to just sort of go down there, and that'll doesn't matter where it winds around. People will think it's going in a straight line. Anyway, that's just kind of. I'm just kind of curious, what should I do here? Because I know that when the ship would be underway, the anchor would be sort of locked up in this hose pipe at a bit of an angle, the way we did the Bismarck. On the other hand, if it was hanging down a little bit, that might be all right too. Oh, another thing, there is no third anchor for this one here. I think there's enough anchor chain to just do the two, and that's it. Oh, speaking of anchor chain, I gave it about, I'm guessing 3 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner this morning. And I'm going to be careful now not to touch it with my fingers because I don't want to be getting any grease on it. I mean, that was the whole idea of putting it in the ultrasonic. Get as much grease and everything off of it as I could. And then I rinsed it out in isopropyl alcohol immediately after that, to get any of the residue of the, well, I just used the same cleaner as I used for the airbrush nozzle and so on. But I'm pretty sure it's about as good as you can get it. Now, well, the reason for that is I want the paint to stick really well to it. Now, the best would be to get that brass black or something like that. I know that would be a good idea if I could get the metal itself to turn black or almost black. But I'm going to use the Stynylrez Black, that primer that sticks really, really good. And my thinking is that it should stick really good to this pristine brass. We'll see how it goes. We're not going to have time to do it today. There is something else I have to do yet today, so we're not going to get quite as much done as normal. Been doing a lot of talking and not a lot of working, I'm afraid. Anyway. Yes, anyway. I can hardly believe that the summer is gone. It just seems like only about a week ago I was mentioning how my son was going to come over and he was going to help me take the winter tires off and put the summer ones on. Well, he's coming over later this afternoon and he's going to help me switch them back. Actually, he's probably going to do most of it. I'm just going to stand there and give moral support. Oh, and I don't want to forget to thank everybody that sent me a comment to wish me a happy birthday. Thank you so much for that. That was really nice. I got a lot of comments, a lot of birthday wishes from you folks. And there are probably people that wanted to but couldn't. So to those people, thanks too. Anyway, thank you for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.